the Chinese threat and the threat from foreign adversaries in general to our farmland is very real. And
Yeah.
part of the reason that we only recently noticed it as a country is because the pace has picked up so quickly. So in just 2 years, the amount of farmland owned by foreign interests increased by 15%. So that sudden jump, it actually got Congress to take a look at it. There were some small initial protections that were passed. There's more that needs to be done, to your exact point, because they are looking to compromise our national security in one of the most fundamental ways, which is locating not only near our military installations, but getting their hands on farmland to impact our food security, which is about as basic of a level of security as you could get.
That's yes, that's extremely concerning as well. And I feel like we're already being primed to expect food shortages. I'll admit I haven't heard much about it in the last 6 or 8 months. So maybe that's encouraging. I don't know because usually the elites tell you kind of what's going to happen before it happens. But that had been particularly a big concern last year. I remember talking a lot about it. How vulnerable are we today because in loom of possible future food shortages based on this kind of buyout of our land?
Yeah, it's a great question. We really do have risks to our food system, and you're absolutely right that this has been telegraphed. But look at what happened during COVID. Whether it was the
Hmm.
spread of the virus or the government's reaction to that virus, what ended up happening was huge sections of industry were closed down. And we have a food system that is so concentrated right now that there are too few ways for our food to get from the farm gate to the dinner table. And so what happens is if we have a large distribution center or a large processing facility or some other link in our food supply chain go down, massive amounts of food are suddenly not available to people. That's why during COVID, families like mine were seeing an inability to sell their goods, and people who were in the grocery store couldn't find the food they needed, and if they could find it, it was more expensive. So part of the reason that our food prices are so high right now is not only inflation, but because of the vulnerability of our supply chain. So when you get a country like China that is trying to insert itself on the farmland level, but also on the supply level, all the places where they possibly can, it becomes very concerning to have a foreign adversary meddling in a supply chain that is as vulnerable as it is.